In this first demonstration, we will be stretching the spinal rotators using a static stretch. The client should be seated with stable base posture and arms crossed over the chest, just like this, with the hands tucked under the arms. The assistant should be standing directly behind the client. There will be two working hands in this stretch. The first working hand will be placed on the scapula on the side being stretched, and the second working hand will be on the upper chest of the opposite side. The assistant will stretch the spinal rotators by moving into spinal rotation up to 80 degrees. So now we will move into spinal rotation. And we will hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. And you want to repeat this stretch 2 to 3 times. In this demonstration, we will be stretching the shoulder internal rotators using a PNF hold relax technique. The client should be seated with a stable base posture. The elbow should be bent at 90 degrees and pressing against the body, and the palm should be in neutral position, like so, halfway between supination and pronation. As for the hand placement, the stabilizing hand should grasp the upper arm slightly above the elbow and press into the body. The working hand should grasp the forearm slightly above the wrist joint, and the assistant stretches shoulder internal rotators by moving into shoulder external rotation up to 45 degrees. So first, you want to bring the forearm out until the patient feels a stretch. And the patient will let you know when they feel enough stretch. Okay. So first you want to hold this stretch for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you will ask the patient to push in the opposite direction isometrically for 6 seconds. Сега баба, бутай на другата посока. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Хубаво, баба, relax. And next, you will stretch the patient further into external rotation to stretch the internal rotators. Сега малко повече, баба. Така, добре ли? Още? Сега? Да. Okay. Once the client feels a good stretch, you will hold here for 10 to 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and that's it. In this demonstration, I will be stretching the wrist extensors through a static stretch. The client should be seated with a stable base posture. Their forearm should be resting on the armchair, and their palm should be in prone position. The assistant should be seated close to and facing the client, and the stabilizing hand should be right on the wrist joint, while the working hand will be on top of the hand. The direction of the stretch will be as follows. The assistant will move the client's wrist into wrist flexion to stretch the wrist extensors at least 80 degrees, up to 80 degrees. So to begin, I will stretch into wrist flexion for 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. After the first 30 seconds, the client can relax, and you want to repeat that stretch 2 to 3 times. In this next stretch, we will be stretching the plantar flexors through a PNF technique, through the hold relax PNF technique. So the client should be ideally supine with their legs straight. The assistant position should be right beside the client on the side being stretched, with their knee under the client's knee. And the working hand will be cupping the heel of the client with the forearm on the bottom of the foot, and the stabilizing hand will be right above the knee on the thigh to keep the legs straight. So we will stretch the plantar flexors by pushing the foot into dorsiflexion up to 20 degrees. So for the first part of the PNF technique, we want to stretch for 10 seconds. Do you feel stretch here? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And next you'll have the client push into you with their foot. So you can push into me as much as you can into my forearm. Good. For 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And next we will go into a deeper stretch for 10 to 15 seconds more into dorsiflexion. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper. That's okay? So we'll hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then we'll relax. And you should repeat that stretch 2 to 3 times.